to the Dragon Nation.
Dragon King presents The Lost One, Chapter 1. Thomas woke with a mouthful of dust and the taste of ozone on his tongue. The world spun. He tried to focus on the sky, but it was the wrong color. Neither Earth's blue nor Mars's rust, but a deep, bruised indigo streaked with burning gold. Overhead, two moons blinked through the haze like watchful eyes. He pushed himself upright, gasping. Shards of his escape pod lay scattered across the glassy black sand, their edges glowing faintly green. Blood trickled from his temple, warm. His suit's display flickered, warning, oxygen 62%. His mind snapped back to the moments before. The shudder of his ship, alarms, the sudden jolt as an enemy missile found its mark. He remembered the chaos, the scramble to the pods, the desperate launch, the view of the battle raging in orbit as his tiny craft plunged through the atmosphere. Then nothing. Thomas forced himself to his feet. In the distance, alien trees, twisted, crystalline things, rose from the sand like sculptures. The air hummed with an unfamiliar life. He checked his belt. Rations, minimum. Weapons, a single pulse pistol, half charged. Beacon, smashed. He cursed softly. Somewhere above, the war continued. Bright streaks of plasma fire arcing between the great ships of the Coalition and the Dominion. He could see them, distant and beautiful and deadly, fighting for a planet that neither side had ever stepped foot upon. A shiver ran through him. If the Dominion shot him down, they would send search parties. He was alive, but not safe. A sound, like the chitter of insects, but deeper, echoed from the trees. He spun, raising his weapon. Shadows shifted between the trunks. Something was watching him. Breathing hard, Thomas forced himself to move. Survival training kicked in. Find water, find shelter, signal for rescue. He started toward the trees, pulse pistol shaking in his grip. Behind him, the sky burned with the light of distant war. He did not look back. Chapter 2. The Glass Forest. Each step Thomas took sent up a puff of black dust that clung to his yellow and black uniform, dulling its once bright colors. He checked the seams for tears. Any breach in his suit could mean death, either from the elements or the planet's unknown pathogens. Moving cautiously, he crossed a ring of jagged stones at the forest's edge, each stone scored with strange, natural scars. The crystalline trees loomed above him, fracturing the indigo dusk into bands of shifting rainbow light. Their glassy needles pinged softly overhead, filling the air with a music that was both beautiful and unsettling. He scanned for threats, no signs of the Dominion patrols, but he knew they'd come. The Dominion never left survivors. If they found his down pod, they'd fan out, cold, efficient, and merciless. The chittering grew louder. Thomas's hand tightened on his pulse pistol. A flash of movement. A small reptilian creature, iridescent and swift, darted across his path, vanishing into the undergrowth. Its eyes caught the fading light and gleamed with alien intelligence, but it fled rather than fight. Not everything here wanted blood, but he couldn't count on mercy from anything. He found a narrow stream running over black stones. The water tinged faintly green. The suit's microlab beeped. Non-toxic, filter advised. He filled his canteen, forcing himself to drink quickly, never taking his eyes from the shifting shadows. The light was fading fast, night pressing in like a living thing. He needed shelter. He pushed deeper, past trunks that shimmered yellow and violet. The ground sloped downward, and he spotted a hollow beneath the roots of a massive tree, its base ringed by pale, softly glowing fungi. He crawled inside, knees grinding into the cold earth. The space was cramped, but defensible. He scanned the forest, listening. Then he heard them, the crunch of boots, the low, clipped voices speaking Dominion code. They moved with practiced effectiveness, scanning the terrain with rifles at the ready. Their armor gleamed under the glass canopy, black and red, in stark contrast to his own battered yellow. One paused near Thomas's hiding spot, sweeping a tactical light over the undergrowth. Thomas held his breath, pulse pounding, finger on the trigger. A shriek erupted from the darkness. A predator, drawn by the Dominion's lights. Something large and many-legged crashed through the brush, scattering the soldiers. Pulse fire flashed, illuminating a creature with a mouth full of serrated teeth and a hide that shimmered like broken glass. Thomas seized his chance. While the soldiers fought the beast, he slipped deeper into the shadows, heart hammering. He would survive. He had to. But the Dominion wouldn't stop, and the planet's creatures were just as relentless. Tonight, Thomas watched the stars battle overhead, alone and haunted, as the planet's wild sympathy echoed through the glass forest. Chapter 3. The Predator's Moon. Thomas didn't sleep. He watched the moving shadows and the flickering starlight above, listening to the Dominion soldiers' shouts and the gruntal roars of the planet's predators. The shrieks and gunfire faded, replaced by the eerie, musical ping of the glass forest returning to uneasy silence. He checked his supplies. The canteen was half full. The pistol's charge had barely dipped, but he was down to his last 2 emergency rations. He forced himself to eat a small, measured bite, savoring the bland, gritty bar. Fuel, not food. He waited until dawn, a thin, greenish light filtering through the glass needles, before crawling out from his shelter and scanning for signs of pursuit. Blackened scorch marks and splashes of alien blood marked the ground where the Dominion had fought the creature. There were no bodies, just a trail of deep, 3-toed prints leading off into the trees. Thomas kept low and moved quickly, weaving through the crystalline trunks. He needed to put distance between himself and the Dominion. His head throbbed, but his mind was clear, focused on survival. He found a ridge and climbed it, using the jagged stones for cover. From the top, he surveyed the landscape. To the north, a wide valley shimmered with morning mist. To the east, he gleamed the faint metallic glint of his crashed escape pod, too exposed to return. He saw movement in the valley, a Dominion search party, their armor catching the light as they fanned out in formation. He looked up, squinting at the sky. The war still raging in orbit, flashes of distant explosions lighting the clouds. But no rescue beacon would reach him, not with his transmitter smashed. He would have to improvise. He moved along the ridge, searching for anything useful. The ground here was studded with shards of glassy rock, some as sharp as knives. He wrapped one in a strip of fabric torn from his sleeve and tucked it into his belt. A crude tool, but better than nothing. Suddenly, a sound. A low, rumbling growl froze him in place. He turned slowly. Perched atop a boulder, a creature watched him. It was a feline in shape, but its skin was smooth and glassy, and its eyes glowed faintly blue. Its tail flickered, muscles tensing. Thomas raised his pistol and backed away. The creature followed, silent and graceful, never breaking eye contact. Thomas let out a shaky breath. Another small victory, alive, uninjured, and with a new scar burned into his memory. He pressed on toward the misty valley. There would be water, maybe shelter, and, if he was lucky, wreckage from other ships brought down in the fighting above. He kept his pistol ready and his eyes open. Every step was a battle, every breath a victory snatched from the jaws of this hostile world, and Thomas was determined to win them all, one by one, until he found his way home.